Hello and welcome to another episode of A Day in the District. I'm your host, Chelsea Whittington. A Day in the District is a program that highlights all of the accomplishments and amazing things happening in your Gary Community School Corporation. Today, I am so excited to welcome my guest. He is new to the district, but is making big changes by big leaps and bounds. He is none other than Mr. Frank Menzies, who is our Director of Instrumental Music. Welcome.
Thank you.
May I call you Frank?
Yes.
Thank you, Frank, for joining us. I want to set the stage with our viewers on how I discovered you for my first time. It was back in the fall, or yes, in November, when it was the 25th anniversary opening of the West Side Theater Guild season. And they told attendees to turn our attention to the rear of the auditorium. And we were so surprised to see our young people marching in the marching band. They'd already performed in the pit as the orchestra. And then there was you, center stage, directing all of this activity. And I said to myself, you have to get this gentleman on A Day in the District. Who is Frank Menzies?
Just a classroom teacher, glad to service the students in the Gary community.
And we would love to hear a little bit about your background, because when you talk about music, and I grew up playing in the band and right here at Westside and other schools, and we know that it is definitely something that has to be taught, notes and performance and things like that. So tell us about your background and how you got to dear old Westside.
I am a product of Chicago Public Schools.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in theater in elementary school, and going into high school was a music major, music performance, with a concentration in orchestra. But I also did gospel choir and marching band. I was a member of the drum line in the marching band. I played viola in high school orchestra, and I had learned some small things about instrumental repair with regard to strings. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate to have a special talent scholarship to Howard University.
HU, me too. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. This is breaking news. I am on stage with a fellow. I knew there was a reason that I liked you. Oh, we must connect. Continue.
Yes, ma'am. And upon making it to the university campus, I continued with my musical studies in a jazz band and orchestra, symphonic band, jazz, multiple arenas, gospel.
Showtime,
Yes.
marching band. I had to do it.
There you go. I played trumpet in the marching band. I was principal violist for the string ensemble. I played one instrument in the B band, electric bass, and I played piano in the A band. I was on telecast for one of the churches, the New Bethel Church of God in Christ, 6440 Piney Branch Road, next to Silver Spring.
I was going to say, is that in Maryland? Yeah.
It's right on the border, straight up Georgia Avenue.
Yes, yes. Oh, my goodness. I can't
Yes.
stop smiling. I'm going to tell you the first reason I'm smiling, obviously, because we're fellow alumni to that amazing university that is Howard. But, two, I'm just looking at all the people from Chicago and CPS, and I'm waving like, we got us one. We got you. We poached and got us a major talent. And just listening to your background, just from the collegiate level, we haven't even talked about what you've done career-wise, but it says to me that our students are being exposed to a wide portfolio of music thanks to the studies that you have completed. So tell me more.
Yes, ma'am. It's been great. It's been a wonderful ride. I wanted to be a lifelong learner, even though sometimes the finances were not where we would like for them to have been with regard to that. But we're very fortunate to have continued Vandercook College of Music, as well as American College of Education, and Governor State University. Completed a master's in educational leadership and was tenure track towards an EDD, doctorate in educational leadership as well, with Chicago State University, where I am an adjunct lecturer at this time.
Oh, so excuse me, this is Dr. Frank Menzies. I love to give credit where credit is due. All of us do not necessarily have the wherewithal, the patience, the ability to complete those studies. So please, Doctor.
no.
I have to give you that. That is amazing. And I'm excited again for our children, again, to be exposed to your tutelage. And I'm sure they are learning so much from you. And so after completing your doctorate, and
No,
how do you love, how do you like the instruction piece of it as far as being an adjunct instructor?
well, it's great. I didn't finish the doctoral program.
Okay.
I was in the program for educational leadership.
Okay.
But I didn't finish the program. But it showed so much with regard to research in education, what is considered normalcy in today's environment with regard to the idea of education that is approached by this generation
Yes.
of young people. And in gathering information with regard to that small piece, it speaks volumes to the approach of the teacher now, even with something that someone would say as simple as music. But we both know that there is complexity and simplicity. And with regard to music, we have to approach it so that those multiple learning styles in the classroom can be adhered to, and you can grab all with the same idea, even though you have to form a different approach from time to time.
Sounds like a doctor to me. I don't know, let's just say you finished, okay? Because we are indeed reaping the benefits. And Frank, I can't be more excited about the things that are in store for our young people. I mentioned earlier about the orchestra program that I saw them in the pit at the Westside Theater Guild 25th anniversary grand opening. And I even saw some of them finish in the pit, LeBaron Jr., and then jump, run, and go get into the marching band. So there are lots of opportunities for these young people. Quickly, can you tell me, we'll start with orchestra before break, and then we'll break down all the other areas. But talk a little bit about the orchestra program.
The string program, it is my understanding that COVID somewhat interrupted the program. So when I came in, there's a wonderful gentleman named Mark Spencer that I made contact with through another gentleman named Mike Carson, who I play with at Chicago State University.
I do know Mr. Carson well.
And we had an opportunity to speak. And upon coming this way, it was to try to see if I can build back up the string program. And so we started with 2 students, and in a week's time we had 13.
All right, 13. I want you to hold it right there, and I want you to hold it right there. You are watching A Day in the District, and I am your host, Chelsea Whittington, chatting with my fellow Howard alum, Mr. Frank Menzies, Director of Instrumental Music here at Westside Leadership Academy. We are talking all things music and all the opportunities that our children now afford, thanks to him. You stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Don't tell anybody, but I'm a bookworm. I'm one of those very ambitious, highly motivated, overachievers you've heard about. When I enrolled in Gary Community Schools, I thought I'd be all alone. Sort of like an anomaly or a unicorn. Turns out, that wasn't true at all. There's lots of us here.
Gary Schools. Strong, resilient, built for education.
Welcome back to A Day in the District. I'm your host, Chelsea Whittington. A Day in the District is an amazing program developed right here at Westside Leadership Academy, where we keep you informed of all the great things that are happening in the district. In our first segment, we were introduced to my guest, Frank Menzies, who is the Director of Instrumental Music here at Westside Leadership Academy, and I haven't stopped smiling. All of the different areas that our children are now afforded to learn, and we left off with a conversation on the resurrection of the string program. I want to use the terms that you use, the string program. So we started with 2, and then you said 13, and then what?
We continued to facilitate instruction there, and it was great. It was a great experience. The children who came in, the students who were there, had great discipline. Mm-hmm. They wanted to grasp this concept. Some returned from having studied before under the gentleman who was here prior to my arrival.
Yes.
And they seem to be very, very gracious and open to this new guy that's invaded their space. So it's been wonderful.
Well, I will share with you that when we learned of the vacancy that was going to happen in your area, that the children were definitely concerned. They wanted to continue their studies, and I even had a parent reach out to me to say, if the orchestra is not an offering, I will consider taking my child out of the district. So you are saving enrollment, Frank. Did you realize that?
No, ma'am.
Well, I am here to tell you in front of all of our viewers that the arts are, as you know, alive and well, but they have to be fed by instructors like yourself. So we've talked about string. Let's talk more about the marching band. So that's the one that everybody kind of knows about, the fanfare of it all, and you being a part of it at Howard and other institutions. You know how important it is for us to, one, get the musical instruction, but two, give them a show. So what are we doing with our marching band piece?
We are attempting to not music has been alive at West Side for quite some time.
Yes.
Mr. Carson shared with me, who is now, to my understanding, has recently taken on the position of the conductor of, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right, the Gary Community
Civic Symphony Orchestra, yes.
And being in such a grand place, he shared with me that their rehearsal spot used to be right here at West Side, and I was unaware of that.
Yes.
So having such a rich culture, we did not want to try to reinvent the wheel, as it were, but just add some things to what was already present.
Yes.
So we asked the students, what have you all been doing with regard to your application to marching band? And we just added little things here. Take what they already knew. In the late 90s or mid 90s, there was a paradigm called PK, prior knowledge, that was used for curriculum and instruction for the master's programs. And so we took the prior knowledge and kept that moving so that there would be continuity with regard to what they already had in place, muscle memory and such. And then just added baby things here, baby things there. Some things that I extracted from Howard University's marching band, my experience with them. Other things that I learned with regard to research and study. The connectivity between core style and showtime is real, and that's a powerful connection with regard to the merging of the two. So they were very open, they were very kind to me, and I was very glad to superimpose some of these basic truths with regard to marching band paradigm.
So, Frank, you have my wheels turning here. I think an appropriate field trip for research, of course, is to take our young people to a Howard homecoming. I mean, I think they need to see the drum line, the battle of the bands. They need to see these things so they can infuse and implement technique. No, I kid, but in all seriousness, we know that parents and community, when we go to sporting events and things of that nature, we want to see our band. And so I am going to address the elephant in the room. There were always requests for where are the new uniforms, where are the new uniforms? And so I will give a report on behalf of Mark Spencer. I won't put you in the hot seat that the uniforms have been selected, order made. We understand with COVID, supply and demand, it will be a while before they come back, but we're looking to have them by late third quarter, early fourth quarter of this year. And so I'll take the brunt for that, but we want to give people a progress and update of what's going on. So how much are the students involved in putting some of the techniques together? I know that when I was in band back in we were able to say what songs we wanted to play, or Mr. Carter, this is the latest dance, we want to do this. How do they get involved in that way?
Well, what again we do, we ask, certainly. We don't want to come in with a dictatorial type of dictator's ideology.
Yeah.
We want everyone to be involved. Ultimately, next year, certainly physical training is very important. It has been my past application with regard to the program that everyone should be able to at least run a mile. Well,
I love that.
That connects with, my hope is that it connects with the physical education department,
Sure.
which has them running a mile and a half within a certain amount of time.
Oh.
And because we're high stepping, it pulls certainly on the body, so you have to know how to stretch.
Yeah.
You have to have lung capacity because you have the arms moving and the elbows up and the head moving, with regard to also being able to put the foot down on the balls and not jar the heel to jar the embouchure. You have to be able to have bodily movement and still maintain your air, because you got to blow, you have to dance, you have to march, and you have to do all of this at the same time.
At the same time.
So we'd like to certainly connect with some of the things that are taking place with regard to physical education. We also want to do research with regard to looking at where the songs came from. Why did the composer who wrote the song write the song? What was the time period that took place? Because in doing so, you're now connecting U.S. history with African American history with world history, hence the application on the merging of music appreciation along with playing the piece, and they have a greater understanding. In other words, you're taking the music off of the page.
Off the page.
And if you can get the child, the heart of the child, to see where the composer was when the song was written,
happened, yeah.
then the music will play itself, and all they have to do is worry about just dancing and entertaining.
So, you see what I'm saying? So if you have not enrolled your child, number one, in the Gary schools, but more laser focused in the music program at Westside Leadership Academy, you're missing out. And we're infusing music across the board in both our elementary and middle school levels. But this is what our youngsters have to look forward to as they move through the pipeline of musical academia. I mean, you are so passionate about your field, and that's exactly what we need. And I can't wait till our next segment when we talk more about what's in store for our music program. You are watching A Day in the District. I am your host, Chelsea Whittington, sitting right here chatting with my colleague, Frank Menzies, Director of Instrumental Instruction here in the Gary Schools. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
It's gross. I don't really want to talk about it.
She didn't want to at first, but I mean, it's no big deal. Everybody does it.
I was ready, totally ready, because we had been practicing this dance for weeks.
He was supposed to take this girl to this dance, but
I sprained my ankle at track practice.
I hate sharing anything personal. It's so disgusting.
For the dance, I let her wear my shoes and she hated it, but I thought she looked great in them.
he could barely even walk.
I ended up taking some pills for my pain.
Yeah, they were my mom's, but
It didn't go well.
If it's not yours,
If it's not yours,
if it's not yours,
Hey you,
don't take it.
don't take it.
don't take it.
don't take it. You won't believe what happened next.
Hello, my name is Dr. Paige McNulty. I'm the manager for the Gary Community School Corporation, and I am pleased to be joined today with the Jackson 5 family members, Tito and Marlon Jackson.
Hi,
how are you? Thanks for being here today.
Not only are we members of the world-famous Jackson 5, but we are proud products of the Gary schools.
Growing up in Gary, our school system afforded great opportunities from academics to extracurricular activities.
And today is no different. This is why we encourage you to enroll your child in the Gary schools today.
For more information, please call 219-881-5466 or visit garyschools.org. And please remember, enroll in Gary Schools today.
Yes,
Right.
definitely enroll.
Gary Schools.
Strong, resilient.
Built for education.
I'm practicing my drum skills, even though I don't have any. Welcome back to A Day in the District. I'm your host, Chelsea Whittington, here with Frank Menzies, who's heading up all things music over here at Westside, and he just passionately delivered how our children are experiencing instruction in our Department of Fine Arts. We're talking about the marching band, and I was very intrigued and happy to know that they are required to do the physical piece of this by getting themselves physically ready to be able to do these performances without being winded. So I guess my next question is, When is this physical therapy and working out? The weather's starting to break. When is this taking place? Because it sounds like I need to hop out there and join you all. When are you all going to do these things, or how do you do it?
Well, we have been initiating baby steps, as it were.
Okay.
To the point where, the general idea, hopefully, is to certainly have the input of the students, where you would have someone with a dance committee to say, you all come up with the dance, a librarian to say, please make sure that all parts are distributed, to have someone with regard to a music listening group to say, these are the songs that we'll consider, and certainly the drum major and the section leaders, which will be in conference to determine where are our weak spots, where are our strong spots, who do we, or where would we need to apply ourselves to make the weakest link strongest. And so when it comes down to physical training, even now the students have said, if you drop your stick, you owe me 10 push-ups.
Uh-oh, let's get it. Sound like they're online.
We
love
have
it.
got to try to pull them back a little bit.
That's a bit.
Right.
10 push-ups for dropping your stick.
Yes,
I love it, though. So I will tell you that there's that stereotype out there about the whole band geek that I even experienced when I was in high school. They were like, you're in band? But it never fazed me because I knew that I learned to read music. It was an art that I was appreciated, and we had tons of fun marching in the parades and things of that nature. What are you seeing during your time here so far about the interest growing in marching band?
We have students that are in the beginning band classes that want to play in marching band. Again, it seems that the interest is present.
Okay.
But I would like to steer the students into an arena that not only encompasses the marching paradigm, but concert and symphonic band as well.
Yes.
The ability for the student to be able to read music is primary. So at the beginning level, concert band would be where I would like to steer them.
Yes.
What is a whole note? What is a half note? Are you able to
A whole note has 4 counts.
Yes.
Yay! I still remember.
Yes, ma'am. So that's the design. That's the design, is to have the theory tight, to have the ability to produce sound. The number one thing is good tone. A gentleman named Dr. William Ravelli, who was the teacher of the directors of the Bands of America, which is right here in Indiana.
Yes.
Is actually in Indianapolis. So he said, number 1 is tone, number 2 is intonation, number 3 is timing. There were 5. Won't belabor your time with that, but certainly to be able to produce good tone, you have to have a knowledge of your sound producing mechanism. And we want to funnel all of these empirical truths, the foundational truths, have that set, and then move them into a marching ideology.
I love it. I love it. It's reminiscent of the things that we used to do. We played in concert band, jazz band. I even played the piano for the jazz band here. So I'm just giving a little tidbit of some history here. But to that end, with them learning all of the fundamentals of music, talk to me a little bit about competition. Nothing like ISMA, going downstate and being nervous as all get out, but wanting to come back with the medals. Is that in our future, return to ISMA?
We are absolutely desirous to attend that. And because I'm brand new to Indiana, I am taking my lead certainly from those who have done it. Wonderful, most learned choral director here, Mr. Keith Nelson, who has assisted me with so many things. Certainly Mr. Mark Spencer, to give me direction with regard to things that I should be aware of. And in the state of Indiana, great state.
Yes,
I
we
would
are.
certainly love to, and we look to be in attendance, memberships, whatever is needed or necessary in order to facilitate that for our students, yes.
Well, I don't know if it's just me or for those of you who are watching, you make me want to come to class. It's making me want to come in, observe, learn more, then go outside and go running with you all to get our mile in. It sounds like an amazing program, and we are so excited to have you. Now I have to go totally off script. Is Drumline one of your favorite movies? Gotta know.
Drumline is absolutely a favorite. When it came out, I was working actually with my band program, and the family was going out to see it, and I got there somewhat after the movie had started, and they had already gone in. So I'm out in the lobby, and I don't have my ticket. And I told security, I said, please. I was begging. I said, I am a band director. You gotta let me in. My family is inside. I promise we'll have a ticket. I said, you can't deny me. I pleaded
Just
so
hold my
badly.
phone. I'll be back.
He walked me in.
Did he?
And there was nowhere to sit. I went straight to the front. I had to look
Front
up
row
to watch, but it was just memories of them running the bleachers with the instruments. Memory at Howard, the physical training was so intense in marching band. If you were late, you had to duck walk to the 50 and then run 2 laps before you could join. And it was so labor intensive that the university permitted us to waive our requirements for gym. We had to take swimming.
Okay.
But if you were in the marching band or ROTC,
boxes checked.
Yeah, you didn't have to take phys ed.
That is so awesome, and it just makes me so excited for our young people, because some of them, this type of experience, would you agree, gets them mentally prepared and excited about college? I mean, we don't all go the same route. Some are, excited. Academia, that's how I'm going to get there. But music, quickly, is a viable way to get them to college, yes?
Yes, it is.
And so I am hoping that you are certainly prepping them from a scholarship standpoint. And I just want to go on record, coming from a promotional PR standpoint for the district, that we are committed to doing whatever we can to help promote your program. Now, in 30 seconds or less, will you tell our community members who are watching how they can get involved and how you want their support right there?
We are very happy to have your support. We would love for you to give us a call here at Westside Leadership Academy. Ask for Mr. Frank Menzies, Director of Instrumental Music. We take all donations. We would be very happy to have your support, and thank you for having me here.
And thank you for being here with us. We will be in the stands for all the performances, and you just let us know so that we can share the information with our community. You are living proof that fine arts is alive and well in the Gary schools. You have been watching A Day in the District with my special guest, Mr. Frank Menzies. All things music. You say Director of Instructional Music or Instrumental Music. I say all things music. We thank him for being here, and we thank you for watching A Day in the District. I have been your host, Chelsea Whittington, and we'll see you next time. WSTG TV.
Don't tell anybody, but I'm a bookworm. I'm one of those very ambitious, highly motivated, overachievers you've heard about. When I enrolled in Gary Community Schools, I thought I'd be all alone. Sort of like an anomaly or a unicorn. Turns out, that wasn't true at all. There's lots of us here.
Gary Schools. Strong, resilient, built for education.